Picture this. It is September 1st, 1870. A ship docks in Durban, South Africa. A 17-year-old boy walks down the gangplank. He is tall, awkward, and clutching his chest. He has a borrowed 3,000 pounds from his aunt and a medical diagnosis that says he has 6 months to live. He looks like a failed accountant. But inside his jacket pocket, he isn't carrying a business plan. He is carrying a vision that will kill 20,000 people and redraw the map of a continent. Most men come to Africa to find gold. This teenager came to acquire the ground itself. His name is Cecil John Rhodes. Within 20 years, he won't just own a company. He will own a country twice the size of Texas, named after himself. He will build a diamond monopoly that controls the price of the ring on your finger today. He will command a private army that wipes out civilizations with a single piece of technology. But to understand how one man tried to privatize a continent, we have to go back to a dusty hole in the ground. In 1871, the ground in Kimberley, South Africa, is pure chaos. 30,000 men are digging in a pit that covers 170,000 square feet. Every man has a claim measuring exactly 31 feet by 31 feet. It is a mess of falling ropes, collapsing walls, and stolen gems. Young Cecil Rhodes doesn't pick up a shovel. He picks up a water pump. He realizes the miners can't dig if their claims are flooded. He buys an imported steam pump and rents it out to desperate miners. He trades his services for diamond claims. He sees a flaw in the market. When you have 30,000 sellers, the price of diamonds crashes. To keep the price high, you need to control the supply. Rhodes starts buying. He buys the claims of men who give up. He buys the claims of men who die. By 1888, the chaos of 30,000 owners is gone. It comes down to two men, Cecil Rhodes and a flamboyant rival mogul named Barney Barnato. They sit in a corrugated iron shack for 18 hours straight. Rhodes wears Barnato down with numbers, maps, and relentless pressure. At 4 a.m., Barnato gives in. Rhodes writes a check for £5,338,650. That is roughly 660 million pounds in today's money. It is the largest single check ever signed in history at that time. The result is De Beers Consolidated Mines. Rhodes now controls 90% of the world's diamond supply. He can turn the tap off whenever he wants. But here is where the story shifts. Most tycoons stop at the money. For Rhodes, the money is just the fuel. While studying at Oxford in 1877, Rhodes writes a document. He calls it his Confession of Faith. It isn't a religious text. It is a blueprint for white supremacy. He writes that the British are the finest race in the world. He argues that the more of the world they inhabit, the better it is for humanity. His goal is terrifyingly specific. He wants to bring the United States back under British rule. He wants to colonize the entire continent of Africa. He wants to create a secret society with the power to manipulate governments. This isn't just the rambling of a 24-year-old student. He puts his diamond fortune behind it. He looks at the map of Africa. In 1880, only 10% of the continent is under European control. Rhodes sees a red line. He wants to build a railway from Cape Town in the south to Cairo in the north. A continuous line of British territory spanning 4,500 miles. But there is a problem. Between the British colonies in the south and the resources in the north, there are people. Powerful, organized kingdoms stand in his way. And the British government in London doesn't want to pay for a war to remove them. So Rhodes decides to do something unprecedented. He decides to privatize the conquest. In 1889, Rhodes travels to London. He wants a royal charter. This is a legal document from Queen Victoria. It allows a private company to act like a government. He forms the British South Africa Company, BSAC. This isn't like Amazon or Google. This company has the legal right to raise a police force. It has the right to fly its own flag. It has the right to build forts and make laws. It has the right to grant land to settlers. Rhodes bypasses Parliament and the taxpayers. He tells investors they will get the gold of a second rand. He gets the charter in October 1889. Now he needs the land. The land he wants belongs to the Ndebele people. Their territory is just north of the Limpopo River. It is ruled by King Lobengula. Lobengula commands an army of 15,000 warriors. Rhodes knows he can't fight them yet, so he sends a business partner named Charles Rudd. Rudd arrives at Lobengula's court in 1888. He presents a contract. The king cannot read English. Rudd explains that they only want to dig for some gold. He says they won't bring an army. He says they will protect the king from other colonizers. The king signs the document on October 30th. It becomes known as the Rudd Concession. But the translation was a lie. The written contract gives Rhodes complete and exclusive charge over all metals and minerals in the kingdom. It gives him the power to do all things necessary to get them. In exchange, Lobengula gets 100 pounds a month. He gets 1,000 Martini Henry rifles. And he gets 100,000 rounds of ammunition. Rhodes buys the sovereignty of a nation for a subscription fee and a crate of guns. But the king figures it out too late. Lobengula tries to renounce the treaty. He sends letters to Queen Victoria. He executes the advisor who told him to sign. Rhodes ignores him. In 1890, Rhodes assembles the Pioneer Column. It looks like a military invasion, but it's technically a corporate road trip. 200 settlers, 500 company police officers. They are heavily armed. They march north, bypassing Lobengula's royal kraal to avoid an immediate fight. On September 12, 1890, they reach a flat plain. They hoist the Union Jack. They call the place Fort Salisbury. Today, we know it as Harare, the capital of Zimbabwe. Rhodes starts handing out the loot. Each pioneer gets a 3,000-acre farm. Each pioneer gets 15 gold claims. They are giving away land that is already inhabited. Cattle are seized from the locals. Taxes are imposed on huts. Tension builds for 3 years. Lobengula knows his 15,000 spears can't hold off the British forever. But Rhodes needs a war. The gold mines aren't producing as much as he promised investors. De Beers' stock is stable, but his new company is shaky. He needs to seize the king's cattle and the royal lands to justify the cost. In 1893, a minor border dispute gives him the excuse. The British South Africa Company attacks. And this time, they bring a new invention. This is the moment warfare changes forever. It is the first Matabele War. Lobengula's soldiers are brave. They are disciplined. They have the rifles from the original deal. But they don't have the Maxim gun. Getty images. This weapon fires 600 rounds per minute. It is the world's first fully automatic machine gun. Rhodes's forces have 5 of them. At the Battle of the Shangani, 700 company soldiers face 5,000 Ndebele warriors. The warriors charge. The Maxim guns open fire. It isn't a battle. It is an industrial slaughter. 1,500 warriors are mowed down in hours. The company loses only 4 men. This happens again at the Battle of Bembisi. Lobengula flees his capital. He burns it to the ground rather than let Rhodes have it. He dies of smallpox or poison 2 months later. The kingdom is dissolved. The company seizes 300,000 head of cattle. They force the locals into labor on the new farms. Rhodes arrives to survey his prize. The territory is officially named Rhodesia in 1895. He has literally put his name on the map. He is the Prime Minister of the Cape Colony. He is the chairman of De Beers. He is the managing director of the British South Africa Company. He is 42 years old. And this is where the hubris kicks in. Rhodes looks south. There is a neighbor he doesn't control. the Transvaal Republic. It is run by the Boers descendants of Dutch settlers. Their leader is Paul Kruger. Kruger is a tough, pipe-smoking old man who hates the British. But Kruger sits on top of the Witwatersrand. This is the biggest gold deposit on planet Earth. Discovered in 1886, it produces 27% of the world's gold. Foreign miners, mostly British, are flooding in to dig it up. Rhodes wants that gold under the British flag. He hatches a clumsy plot. He will secretly fund a rebellion of the British miners in Johannesburg. Then his private army will invade to restore order. He puts his best friend, Dr. Leander Starr Jameson, in charge of the army. December 29, 1895. Jameson crosses the border with 600 men. He cuts the telegraph wires to hide the invasion. But in a drunken error, his men cut a fence instead of the wire. The message gets out. The Boers are waiting. The British miners in Johannesburg never revolt. They are making too much money to care about politics. Jameson is surrounded. He surrenders on January 2, 1896. It is a humiliation. Rhodes is exposed as the mastermind. He is forced to resign as prime minister. The British government is furious. But while Rhodes is dealing with the scandal, the people back in Rhodesia see their chance. It is March 1896. Most of the company police are captured in the Transvaal. The land is unguarded. A spiritual leader, known as the Mlaimo, rallies the people. He tells them the white men's bullets will turn to water. He blames the rinderpest, a cattle plague, on the settlers. The Second Matabele War begins. This is known today as the First Chimurenga. Settlers on lonely farms are attacked. 200 are killed in the first week. The survivors hole up in the towns of Bulawayo and Salisbury. Rhodes rushes back north. He is disgraced, but he is still rich. He pays for the war effort out of his own pocket. The fighting is brutal. Rhodes's men use dynamite to blast rebels out of caves. They destroy grain stores to starve the population. But the Ndebele won't surrender. The cost of the war hits £2.5 million. Shareholders are panicking. Rhodes realizes he can't win by force alone this time, so he does something incredibly risky. He walks into the enemy camp. August 21, 1896. Rhodes rides into the Matapo Hills. He brings no weapons. He brings only 3 other men. He waits for the Ndebele chiefs. They emerge from the rocks, carrying rifles and spears. They surround him. Rhodes sits on an ant hill. He asks them, "Is it peace or is it war?" An old chief steps forward. He lists their grievances: the stolen cattle, the abuse of women, the forced labor, the magistrate who treated them like dogs. Rhodes listens. He tells them the magistrate will be removed. He promises safety, but he refuses to give back the land. The chiefs are tired of starving. They agree to lay down their arms. It is peace, the chief says. Rhodes calls this his greatest achievement. He manipulated a desperate people into accepting his rule because he destroyed their food supply. He saved his company from bankruptcy. He secured the territory for the British Empire. But the peace is built on total subjugation. The racial laws he implements here become the blueprint for apartheid later in the 20th century. He introduces the Glenn Gray Act. It forces black farmers off their land to create a labor pool for white mines. It creates a tax that can only be paid in cash. To get cash, you must work for the white man. The loop is closed. Rhodes spends his final years obsessed with his legacy. He buys a massive estate near Cape Town called Groote Schuur. He fills it with books he never reads. He commissions translations of Roman classics, but his heart is failing. The oxygen in his blood is low. He turns purple during meetings. He travels frantically between England and Africa. He tries to push the telegraph line north to Egypt. He meets with the Kaiser of Germany to get permission to cross German East Africa. He gets the deal done, but he runs out of time. March 26, 1902. Cecil Rhodes dies in a cottage by the sea. He is 48 years old. His last words are reported to be, "So little done, so much to do." His body is put on a train. The train travels north along the rails he built. It stops at every station. Thousands pay respects. He is buried in the Matapo Hills in Zimbabwe. He chose the spot himself. He called it World's View. He is buried in the heart of the land he stole, surrounded by the spirits of the people he crushed. But even from the grave, his money keeps working. Rhodes left a will. He didn't leave his fortune to his family. He left it to the Rhodes Trust. He created the Rhodes Scholarship at Oxford University. It is one of the most prestigious scholarships in the world. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. So was astronomer Edwin Hubble. So was musician Chris Christopherson. For over a century, the diamonds dug out of African soil by underpaid laborers have funded the education of Western elites. It's a masterclass in reputation laundering. Rhodesia remained a white minority-ruled country until 1980. A brutal civil war was fought to take it back. When it finally became Zimbabwe, the statues of Rhodes were pulled down, but the economic structures he built remained. The land distribution issues in Zimbabwe today trace directly back to that pioneer column in 1890. The borders of Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi are the borders of his company. De Beers still dominates the diamond industry, though its monopoly has fractured. The railway still runs. The Cape to Cairo dream never fully happened, but the corporate extraction model did. Rhodes proved that a corporation could be more powerful than a king. He showed that if you have enough capital, you don't need to ask for permission. You just buy the laws. Rhodes was a man who believed the world was a puzzle to be solved by British men. He looked at a continent of 100 million people and saw a balance sheet. He died unsatisfied, believing he hadn't grabbed enough. But looking at the global economy today, where corporations have GDPs larger than countries, you have to ask a question. Did Cecil Rhodes really die? Or did his philosophy just become the standard operating procedure? I want to hear your take. Is the modern multinational corporation just the British South Africa company in a better suit? Drop your argument in the comments below. I read the detailed ones. And if you want to see how other tycoons tried to buy the world, hit that subscribe button. We are revisiting the oil barons in 1900 next. See you there.